Ghana's highest court is due to issue a long-awaited ruling Thursday on whether to overturn President John Dramani Mahama's election victory in 2012 on fraud allegations. This will serve as a test for one of Africa's most stable democracies. The country's largest opposition party, the New Patriotic Party lawsuit over Mahama's victory in the December 2012 election, has been the subject of over 8 months of litigation in Ghana's Supreme Court. The 9 justices hearing the case have wide latitude to rule. They could reject the case, order that elections be held again, or decide that the Electoral Commission should overturn Mahama's win. According to the Electoral Commission, a defendant in the case along with the President and his National Democratic Congress Party, Mahama took 50.7% of the vote over NPP candidate Nana Akufo-Addo's 47.7% in the polls that observers called fair. The case's outcome is unpredictable and the possibility of a court-order changes of power present a high-stake challenge. In the meantime, the police and military have taken to marching around the capital Accra in a show of readiness for the aftermath of the verdict. Reports say Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto will not be detained when their trial starts before the International Criminal Court at The Hague. The two and a former broadcaster, Joshua Arap Sang, will be free to return to the country when the court is not in session. The assertion was made Wednesday by ICC spokesman Fadi Al-Abdallah in his latest edition of Ask the Court. The start of the trial of Ruto and Mr. Sang is built for September 10th, while that of President Kenyatta is on November 12th. No arrest warrant had been issued against the three, as they have consistently cooperated with the court. Sources say Ruto will, however, attend all the court sessions until a decision is made by the appeals chamber on whether he should be excused from attending some of the proceedings. In the meantime, the ICC judges have not established the full schedule of the hearings. Flash floods triggered by torrential rains have allegedly claimed the lives of 24 people in Mali's riverside capital Bamako. Minister of Interior, Security and Civilian Protection Tefta Konate, in a statement on Wednesday, said the heavy rains led to flooding, killing some 24 people. The incident took place when the flooding washed away homes in several neighborhoods including Brankone, Taliko, Lafiambonku Jakona Warayanko, Lafiambonku Bokobar, and Bongani. The flash floods killed 19 people in Taliko alone. Deadly rainstorms regularly hit the West African country during June-October rainy season. Parts of Bamako, a city of around 2 million people on the Niger River, are among the areas hit by the flash floods. Officials say thousands of civilians have fled to the Central African Republic's main international airport in order to escape from former rebel fighters occupying the tarmac for 18 hours as a sign of protest. The Central African Republic has descended into violence since Seleka rebels swept into Bangui in March, deposing President Francois Bozize and unleashing a wave of violence that new leader Michel Djotodia has failed to control. Peacekeepers present at the airport intervened on Wednesday, firing water cannon and tear gas to disperse the crowd after some protesters began throwing stones at them. There was, however, no deaths but just a few wounded. A senior official with the Central African Regional Peacekeeping Mission based at the airport said thousands of civilians who fled there overnight has refused to leave the tarmac. Human rights groups say the Seleka rebels are responsible for widespread looting, torture and summary executions. A United Nations peacekeeper has been killed and 3 others injured in soaring violence in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, which also saw UN helicopters fired on rebels fighting Congolese troops. The nationality of the slain peacekeeper was not immediately known and no other details were given. According to both the government and a UN spokesman, the latest fighting began Wednesday in the hills of the Kabati area, around 15 kilometers north of the provincial capital of Goma. The rebels confirmed that they had been attacked by ground troops as well as from the air. The United Nations Intervention Brigade was created as a result of intense international pressure after the rebels briefly held Goma in 2012. The United Nations Security Council approved the creation of the Intervention Brigade in March, giving the troops an expanded mandate, allowing them to fight the M23 rebels. The M23 fighters launched their rebellion last year, and peace talks with the Congolese government have repeatedly stalled. The Minister of Interior Lofty Benjado has held a press conference in the capital Tunis to provide evidence on the link between the Salafist Ansar Sharia and terrorism. The organization is accused of killing soldiers in Kasserine region and assassinating 2 politicians in July. Benjado added that Tunisian military bombarded Ansar Shari's training camps in the Shambi Mountains. He pointed out that security forces will not tolerate the terrorist group anymore. Many analysts, however, have it that the terrorism and its threat to the national security have rocketed since the 2011 revolution in Tunisia. According to authorities, war on terror comes at a period of political instability as the opposition is calling for a downfall of the government and the dissolution of the assembly. The United States President Barack Obama says the United States has concluded that the Syrian government has used chemical weapons against civilians and advocated the use of a tailored limited military strike in response. President Obama was referring to an alleged chemical weapons attack in the Damascus suburb of Ghouta last week that aid agencies say reportedly killed 355 people and injured as many as 3,000 others. Obama did not present any direct evidence to back up his assertion that the Syrian government bears responsibility for the alleged attack, and the government has strongly denied accusation that it was involved. Arguing for measured intervention after long resistance deeper involvement in Syria, President Obama insisted that while President Bashar al-Assad's government must be punished, he intended to avoid repeating the errors made in the 2003 Iraq War.